How'd the first practice go out here on the field?
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, easy to say, stand back. There was a lot of really good stuff. I think getting out here and getting in front of the guys, getting the ball in the field with a helmet on, it's just so incredibly important the first day and learning how to, where our starting point really is for the offense.
How do you like the communication level, especially, with the communication level for all the newness of this?
Good. It was chaotic. Yeah, I think it's important to be that way a little bit. I think we're trying to get to that point where, I think ideally the closer you can get to getting guys in that learning zone from being comfortable and between panic and comfortable is really where you want to be. And I think that they understand that's where we want to be at because that's where we go to. And so I think having a lot of communication that's loud, and clear and all over the place with a lot of tempo is really important for us to understand where we want to go.
Coach, year one for you, just day one for the camp this year. What are some of the principles that you want to implement to this offense to help it elevate another level?
Well, I think you're going to start with more identity-based stuff in regards to how we show up. I think being locked and loaded is one of the premier things we're talking about, and that's being prepared to come out here and be ready to go. I think self-starters and guys who start fast is a big part of our offense, understanding when to get out here and when to go. The second piece, philosophically, that I think we've talked about identity-wise for our guys is understanding exactly how guys can compete, some rare toughness. I think I say rare with those guys because there comes a certain stamina to this game that you've got to have to play it. I think you usually see that in the later half of practice, and that's really where, towards the end of practice, you saw really ramping up. Because that's when you start getting tired, and that's when you start losing fundamentals, you start breaking communication, and that's when we've got to be able to raise that level. And the last part's finishing. Those are the three things probably when it comes to what we're really starting to create, is build some consistency and habits in regards to guys that come out prepared and have some ability to build some toughness and finish.
Is it exciting for you to just be out on the field, out on the grass, and get this thing on?
Oh man, this is what we do. We live for this, man. This is unbelievable. We got really awful weather too. 70 degrees and grass, and I got a lot of complaints about the weather.
Coach, what is the plan for Jaden in the spring? What will he be able to do with you guys?
Yeah, when you've ever got a guy who's injured and he's not going through, probably the total capacity of what you want to do as a player, you got to be able to maximize the rest of it. And I think, his ability to be on the headset. Right now, we got, as you guys probably saw, everyone's using microphones now. We got NFL headsets. He's locked and loaded into that. Guys are dialed in meetings, going through the condition phases of anything we can do that are fundamental to the position. Not only with the strength and conditioning group and conditioning, but anything I can do as far as fundamentally footwork. Anything without a ball, there's a lot of mental piece and mechanical stuff we can do without throwing. And I think getting him back in that phase is really the first piece of it.
Following up on that, regarding the quarterback competition, or just the quarterback position in general, what is your approach on the quarterback position without Jaden throughout this camp?
Well, guys have got to set the tone at the quarterback position of playing the football. They're learning right now the offense. And so it's the ability to communicate, be able to know naturally what they're going to do in progressions, be able to know where guys are supposed to go. Be smart in situational football today is early in the phase of camp is your first and second down stuff, and understand what the nature of that type of football is, what has to get done. And I think as you progress, you move into a little more progressive situational football, a little more tempo, you add a little bit more elements to their plate. But I think the fundamental approach right away in the early onset of learning the system is probably the most important piece.
Coach, what have been your initial impressions of a guy like Trenton Bourguet and his knowledge of the game and what he brings to the room?
Yeah, I think I've answered a couple times about Trent, and I think it goes without saying, it's that the old adage that there's no replacement for experience. The guy's been around so much football. I think he said the day he's had 7 coordinators, and I'm like, I haven't had 7 cars. I'm 44 years old. But the guy's he has an incredible work ethic. I think there's a ton to be said about the way he approaches his team in this university and his passion for the game. And my hat's off to him and the way he comes out every day to work. He's awesome.
You guys have a lot of size at receiver as well as tight end. Having that length, how much does that open up the offensive option?
Yeah, size and growth potential in this game at this level is a huge piece. And I think if you can do that at all positions, you obviously give yourself a competitive advantage across the field. You have a length across the middle of the field with guys on the perimeter, let alone guys like our tight ends are huge for us. It's great for a catch radius, as long as we play the ball away from our body. But the ability to separate and play big, any big guys that can really move are really a sweet deal to have.
What does Scott bring to the table?
Another guy with a lot of experience, another guy with who plays with some real ruggedness, and I think this game is a rugged game. It's a tough game, especially at the back. the running back positions, before the snap of the ball, the only guy who's really staring at 22 guys ahead of him. I think that takes a little bit different of a mindset when it comes to a guy who's got to play down in and down out. He's a guy I don't think we're going to have to pull off the field. Looks like an every down back. We haven't gotten into protections and stuff like that yet, but there's enough on tape. I think where his abilities are going to be something that are going to be pretty fruitful with what we do.
Coach, working with a lot of different athletes throughout your career, an athletic, twitchy guy like Willie Brown, how would you describe his skill set and how he opens up your options?
Yeah, Rayleigh's got another guy we think is going to be, you're looking at those backs as whether a change of pace or a big back or an all down or all purpose. You like the all down back, so you don't have to change. But he also has that ability to change pace throughout the downs. I mean, he's a burst guy. He's a guy like we've had at the Justice Hills, or the guys at Oregon, or the guys we've had in the past, the Cal guys we've had that can really be home run type guys. Who also makes a really big dent in the pass game. His ability to play one-on-one and option routes and wheels and play in space is pretty special. The screen game opens up with your running back, and you can play that and move that way. You can break formation with him. There's a lot of things that he brings to the table that make the offense good.